Text now, and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream for fast-acting relief absolutely free. Text SECRET to 231-231 today.
Good morning. It's Saturday, July 20th, and you're watching Velshi on MSNBC. I'm Charles Coleman Jr., filling in for my friend and colleague, Ali Velshi, this morning. We come on the air with some sad news that broke overnight. Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas has died after a battle with cancer. She was 74 years old. Back in June, she announced that she had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and was undergoing treatment. Jackson Lee was a fixture in the halls of Congress. What more do we know about how lawmakers are reacting this morning?
Well, Charles, I can tell you that lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, having served with Sheila Jackson Lee for decades, of Virginia. As you said, she's a Queens native, and today her colleagues, including Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, are remembering her as somebody who's had a historic, trailblazing career. He also went on to say that he's grateful for her fearless advocacy, fierce determination, formidable service, and legacy of leadership. The Congressional Black Caucus, something that she has, of course, been a part of in her 3 decades here in Congress, also
Turning now to politics, where we've got a lot to talk about. It's already been an eventful and historic summer in American politics, and that's just putting it mildly. Now that the Republican National Convention is over, it feels like we're entering this new phase in the election cycle. We're just 3.5 months away from Election Day. All week at the RNC, so many people were insisting that Donald Trump is a new man after last Saturday's tragic event. It's almost like they believe after a near-death experience, he's been transformed. They insist that peace and unity would be the theme and the message of the RNC and for his campaign going forward. And while Trump did take on a more somber tone during the first 30 minutes of his speech on Thursday night, it wasn't very long before he pivoted back to his old stump speech that we've all heard, repeating much of the divisive rhetoric that we've heard over and over from him before. Trump, once again, depicted an America that's in dire condition, just like he's done all campaign season. He called the situation at the southern border an invasion Asian, and he doubled down on his vow to an issue. Headline a rally in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is going to be the first time that the pair will hit the campaign trail together as the GOP's official president. Convention suggested all week that we were going to see a new Donald Trump and that the man
that speech, which lasted far longer than 15 minutes, far longer than any speech ever given at a Republican convention, did begin with the story about what happened last Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. But as it went on and on, I think you saw another version of Donald Trump. I'm not so sure if it came from humility, because you don't see that a lot from him, but a lot of it came from what was going on the other side with the Democrats. The fact that Joe Biden will likely not be the nominee
point. Rena, I want to talk to you about this stage because that stage had a lot of interesting speakers, a lot of interesting performers, a lot of folks. We had Tucker Carlson, we had Kid Rock, we had Franklin Graham, we had Texas Governor Greg Abbott, we had
Well, Charles, the reports this past week have me confused because I think a lot of people very obvious. This is a family that's obsessed with power. There were numerous false It doesn't matter if you're a woman of color or a white woman living in flyover country. Republicans
Nikki Haley take the stage and ultimately sort of do a 180 entirely on everything that she's talked about with respect to Donald Trump and why he should not move forward as their candidate during the primaries, and now give this
Nikki Haley did with her own naked ambition on display. It's just obvious she wants to mend faces with MAGA because she has political ambitions. There's no other reason that she would try to live this many political lives if she didn't want to live another. She's shown so many faces to this party, and now she's trying to be something for them because she really wants a future. And she can't have it without kissing the ring of Trump and promoting Trumpism, and that's what I heard from the stage. It was a real misstep on her part, because now they have her right where they want her, and they wanted her because they saw how she performed in the primaries. They saw that she was on the trail at a time that Donald Trump was rife with legal problems and couldn't take to the trail. So what better than to make up for that lost time and grab those moderate votes if
Saturday. But at the same time, how does that translate into polling? Are people all of a sudden going to like Donald Trump more? So that is the type of polling, and at that point, the polling is going to matter a little bit more than it may just now.
That was Rena Shah and Michael Shore. Thank you both for getting us started on this Saturday morning. And coming up on Velshi, amid a mountain of ethical controversies and controversial rulings, President Biden is reportedly ready to endorse sweeping reforms to the Supreme Court. I'll discuss his plans with senior member of the House Judiciary Committee and chair of the Court Reform Now Task Force, Democrat Hank Johnson. And
I called my cardiologist. I have ATTR-CM, a rare but serious disease, and getting diagnosed early made a difference.
bathroom, all our laundry. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
One way to avoid expensive car repair bills is to be a race car driver.
Every car on the road, up to 20 years old.
They cover a ton on the car.
So, who's going to pay for your next car repair? You.
Sometimes Jonah wrestles with falling asleep, so he takes ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, and wakes up feeling like himself. Get the rest to be your best with non-habit-forming ZzzQuil. Better days start with ZzzQuil nights.
Waiting till Friday to get paid? It's tricky. I'm a music teacher who plays gigs.
We want you to take the kids. Oh, you guys.
Doesn't count. This is giving me the fuzzies. But what you need is a will. Trust and will makes it easy. For as low as $199, you can quickly create a state-specific
now. Plans from HomeServe start at just $7.99 a month.
Call 1-800.
Pennsylvania, just hours before Donald Trump was set to speak. That allowed him to get an overhead view and possibly help plan his attack. Now, this is just the latest piece of information that speaks to the drastic security lapses that took place on that day. Other outstanding questions. How was the rooftop where Thomas Matthew Crooks fired shots materials and chemical compounds? Joining me now from Butler, Pennsylvania, is NBC News correspondent George Solis. George, thank you for being with us. What more have investigators learned about the gunman and the security lapses at last Saturday's rally?
Yeah, good morning, Charles. It's been a week, and authorities are apparently no closer to a motive
see as well. Keep in mind, when speaking to classmates and speaking to teachers of Thomas Matthew Crooks, you heard that he was maybe a little bit of an outcast, a little bit of explosive, semi-explosive devices that were also taken to Quantico for further analysis. And all of this is, of course, unfolding as this community is trying to get back to a sense of normalcy. Yesterday was the funeral for Corey Comparator, the firefighter. So this community still obviously reeling even a week out, as still questions remain about the shooting.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S. Rolaids dual active formula begins to
always free.
Go to DealDash.com right now and see how much you can save.
Only Purple's Gel Flex Grid passes the raw egg test. No other mattress cradles your body and simultaneously supports your spine. Memory foam doesn't come close. Get your best sleep guaranteed. Visit purple.com or a store near you.
Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. For almost 20 years, Abacus Life has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors. And in just seconds, you can use the free calculator at abacuspays.com to learn what your policy might be worth.
For many of my clients, selling their life
to control our own bodies.
Planned Parenthood fights for you every day, but we need your support now more than ever. Visit this website, call, or scan the code on your screen with your $19 monthly gift. Help us win the fight for the constitutional right to control our own bodies. There's never been a more urgent time to join. So go online, call, or scan this code now. Sign up with your monthly gift today, and we'll send you this care no matter what.
Will sell their policies for cash, even term policies. I can't believe they're just sitting up there.
at 800-459-2600 or visit CoventryDirect.com.
When you purchase a pair of Bombas socks, tees, or underwear, you also donate one to someone facing homelessness. One purchased equals one donated. 100 million donations vaccinations and counting. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
You've got some winning genes. And for a limited time, Ancestry DNA can show you how your genes stack up against world-class athletes. Find out which athletic traits you inherited. But hurry, the clock is ticking.
The Biden campaign is holding firm for now, saying that the president is staying in the race.
You have heard from the president directly time and again. He is in this race to win, and he is our nominee, and he's going to be our president for a second term.
Despite the strong front from the campaign, members of President Biden's family have discussed what an exit from the race might look like. Now, that's according to two people familiar with the discussions. According to NBC News, Biden's family members have specifically discussed how he would want to end his reelection bid on his own timing and with a carefully calculated plan in place. While those discussions unfold in the White House, NBC News also reports that a group of Democratic allies have started to map out what a presidential campaign apparatus could look like for Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, Harris is not involved in these efforts as she is continuing to publicly support President Biden in the race. Biden is currently isolating due to a COVID diagnosis, but he has vowed to be back on the campaign trail next week. Joining me now to talk about all of this what I really want to know is, as someone who has led the Democratic Party on the state level, what is your message if you're, for example, Jamie Harrison right now, externally? What's your external facing message to
Biden? Why does there seem to be an intentionality around publicly embarrassing the man, especially given the fact that we've talked about his record, we've lauded his record, we've held up his record, we've put money behind his record in trying to talk to independent voters about that versus what Donald Trump may bring. But there seems to be this movement to try to embarrass him to publicly leave. So the message would be, and has continued to be, support the ticket. The voters have already spoken. Let's go. Now, there are two threads coming out of these is what is really damaging, not just for this particular election, but really the future of the party and how it engages the base of the party.
But isn't that sort of the worst kept secret of this whole mess? At the end of the day, there is a legitimate concern that Democrats are going to fumble the bag by somehow taking Joe Biden off the
this. The first and last name out your mouth better be Kamala Harris. Because how would you undermine, like cut the sitting vice president of the United States? When has that ever happened? And it's probably only going to happen, and this is what voters think, because she is black. And I think if you're trying to engage the base of the party, and get them to come out, and get them to support. 100 million people did not vote that could have in the last election. And you want to, next, right? And expect us as Democrats to come out of that process unscathed. It doesn't happen that way. It is messy. It is probably because he's earned that.
That was my friend, Columbia professor Basil Smikle, not to be confused with Jelani Carr.
It's right for you.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that.
This reminds me of my bike.
The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Accidents happen everywhere and every day. Sweep it up the easy way with the Helio Air Broom. The lightweight, flexible broom that's sweeping the nation. In one pass, it gets it all. Watch. Ordinary brooms only get half the mess. But Air Broom's UltraFlex blade is specially designed to lift and grip and leave nothing behind. And for anything that hits the floor, scratching. Plus, it gets into corners quick and easy. Use it in the bathroom. It'll sweep up hair, nail clippings, and floss. And with its telescopic handle, it becomes a squeegee too. Air Broom sleek and slim, so you can store it anywhere. Watch. on your couch or furniture to clean fur quick and easy. And for the car, watch as Helio Mini cleans fur trapped in your car's carpet better than a vacuum. That's right. You can get the Helio Air Broom
shocking. Now, I know that may seem like a contradiction, but perhaps it shouldn't, given everything we've seen from Judge Cannon throughout the proceedings. From the very which was based on a widely discredited fringe theory. Now, I want to make this plain for everyone watching, because what Eileen Cannon did is as important as how she did it. So, Thomas steps in and takes it upon himself to write a separate opinion as part of the SCOTUS's presidential immunity decision. Now, this opinion dealt with an issue that hadn't even been put squarely before the court, but somehow it addressed the appointments clause matter that had come up in Florida. And that was all Judge Cannon needed. So here we are. Cannon is likely aware that an appeal is a lost cause if Trump secures the presidency, because he's expected to terminate all of the pending cases against him. And in her decision, Cannon ruled that Attorney General Merrick Garland lacked the authority to appoint Smith in the first place. Now, legal experts say the conservative justice was signaling to Cannon, and she seized on it, basically ignoring nearly a century of precedent repeatedly endorsed by Congress as well as the Supreme Court. These same legal experts, that's me, I'm the legal expert, have for justice officials. Cannon's ruling aligned with many of conservatives' shared vision for the Justice Department, one that possesses no independence from the person in the Oval Office. For more on this, I am now joined by super lawyer and MSNBC legal analyst, former criminal division deputy chief in the Southern District of New York, Christy Greenberg. Thank you so much for being here.
Let's not even deal with this immunity, what's an official act and unofficial act. Like this, if he's not supposed to be there, nice and easy, let's raise it. They didn't, because it's such a bad argument. As you said, there's Supreme Court precedent. The statute is clear, and there's 140 years of history As Justice Kavanaugh said, a deeply rooted tradition.
I'm going to ask the million-dollar question that a lot of people have asked me and that I think is circulating in the minds of non-lawyers and some lawyers alike. What do you think, pending an appeal here and a potential reversal, and the implications of how one decision impacts the overall sort of landscape. As you look at the way that the judiciary is shaping up, particularly in line with certain aspects of Project 2025, how concerned about the future are you, and what does that concern look like when you're talking about the way that the judiciary seems to be restructuring and reshaping the different powers of different branches of government?
There is real reason to be concerned. I mean, we sat through that New York trial, and we saw in 2016 how Donald Trump used the media, used tabloids to catch and kill these negative stories from women so that they wouldn't hurt him. And now he's doing it with the judiciary. The judges, his judges, are catching and killing his criminal cases so that they go away and they don't hurt him for the
Former federal prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst Christy Greenberg, thank you so much for some lawyer talk on a Saturday morning. Coming up, President Biden is reportedly preparing to endorse some major reforms to the Supreme Court that we were just talking about. But to get it done, he's going to need the approval of Congress. After the break, we'll talk to senior member on the House Judiciary Committee, King Johnson. And he's going to tell us about why right now we're at a quote-unquote
cook anything, anytime, anywhere. Go to your nearest Blackstone retailer or blackstoneproducts.com now and make everything better on a Blackstone.
Whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s and beyond, I know you're seeing changes in the skin on your body. Don't panic. It's never too late to transform yourself and your skin. And Crepe Erase is here to do just that.
Crepe Erase has been delivering smoother, firmer, younger-looking skin for almost a decade.
It's the skin revitalizing tool. It is new and it is free. Yes, you heard me right. It's free when you get the products.
Crepe Erase is already an incredible deal at only $49.95. But when you order today, we'll send you the Skin Revitalizing tool, a $129 value free.
I mean, it's like having a spa in your hand.
And you'll also receive our luxurious neck repair treatment, a $49 value, free.
And enforceable. Now, this is a really big deal, but term limits and a code of ethics would require congressional approval, and that includes 60 votes in the Republican-led Senate, which would currently be very difficult to achieve. Biden did stop short on the most significant kind of court reform, which is court expansion. Last year, in an interview with MSNBC's Deadline White House, he spoke against expanding the court, saying such a move would be, quote, a mistake. The Washington Post is also reporting that Biden may be considering a constitutional amendment to limit immunity for presidents and other officials. Wonder how that happened. The timing here could not be more critical given the court's decision last month that presidents should be immune from prosecution for, quote unquote, official acts. Now, a constitutional amendment would be even more of a long shot because Biden would need 2/3 of both chambers of Congress. This Supreme Court is the least trusted in our history, according to a number of polls. The court's conservative supermajority continues to deliver opinions that are out of step with the American public. And some of those conservative justices continue to find themselves embroiled in ethics scandals. So, reform like term limits and a code of ethics could have significant impact in restoring public confidence in one of the bedrocks of American democracy. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Hank Johnson of Georgia. He is a senior member of the House Judiciary Committee and the top Democrat on the subcommittee overseeing our federal courts and a man of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So that's important to know. Also, back in May, Johnson helped launch a task force that looks into possible reforms to the high court. Good morning, big brother, sir. When you formed this task force, you said we are at a crisis options you talked about is the expansion of the court or adding seats to it. The president doesn't seem interested in expanding the court, though. How do you intend to move that forward?
Well, rests, and therefore our democracy is broken. And so one of the things we need to do in order with ensuring that the other two branches of government function adequately, but we're not there to be a stepping stone for those two branches. This is a co-equal branch. Or this is a co-equal system of checks and balances from the bench. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
Representative Johnson, a lot of critics are saying that President Biden's recent attention around SCOTUS and moving things forward in terms of reform is really about trying to appeal to a segment of progressive voters that are not fully sold on his candidacy. Given everything that we're seeing, how tumultuous things are, what do you believe is the commitment of, say, a Vice President Kamala Harris to reforming the SCOTUS and SCOTUS reform? What do you think
political?
but you can't always tell them much. That is true for Democratic Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia. Thank you, my brother. We appreciate the time. Straight ahead, we've entered a new phase of the presidential race, and while Democrats are questioning President Biden's ability to beat Donald Trump in November, Republicans are newly re-energized after a big week at the RNC. Another hour of Velshi starts coming up after a short break.
New Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
It's more magic than ever. With the scrubbing power of Magic Eraser and the cleaning power of Dawn, watch it make soaps come here, disappear.
And watch how sprays can leave grime like that, with up to 10 times the cleaning power. Foamy melts it on contact.
Magic. It makes this ring a thing of the past. Makes you forgetty about baked on spaghetti.
New Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser. Clean with more magic than ever.
Your best defense against erosion and cavities is strong enamel. Nothing beats it. I recommend Pronamel Active Shield because it actively shields the enamel to defend against erosion and cavities. I think that this product is a game changer for my patients. It really works.
Not so fast. The general's coming with you.
Mom!
He gave us a break on our car insurance, and he'll look after you, too.
Yep, with flexible payment options.
Okay, but why is Shaq coming too?
So take that well-deserved break. MyQ has you covered.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
Do you think those two have any idea
that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash? So they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue.
Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything anymore.